What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing to you a little bit more of a meta video. Also with audio this time. I'm really sorry, guys, if you were fast on the trigger. I uploaded a video without audio before I had to unlist it. This time I will re-record it, and it looks like my sound drivers are working. So this should be much better. This time we have Shadow Abomasnow and Azumarill, probably one of the best cores, very meta. And we have Castform Rainy as the closer to this pair to round out this lineup. Before we get into this video, first of all, a huge shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Couldn't be doing this without you guys. If you guys want to support me, I'll put my Patreon in the video description as well. But while I talk a little bit about how this team works, I would first like to get this video rolling. We can see a little some of the games, and I'll explain how the team building process worked and how to play this team while we watch a little bit. So in this team, we're looking at Shadow Abomasnow and Azumarill as the main core. What's a bit interesting this time is, even though this is the main core, we still have the closer as a different Pokemon. So Shadow Abomasnow and Azumarill work together perfectly. Shadow Abomasnow and Castform Rainy work together pretty well. The main problem is that Castform Rainy does not resist Fighting type, which a pretty common type, a type that Shadow Abomasnow really does not want to have to face, whereas Azumarill does. So perhaps something like Pelipper would be a good replacement to Castform Rainy in this setup. I just don't have access to a Pelipper. As far as Shadow versus non-Shadow for Abomasnow, it's not as big of a deal as like Victorybell, for example, or any of the Razor Leafers. You can definitely still play with regular Abomasnow. There are a couple of matchup differences, namely Skarmory and Galarian Stunfisk. But for the most part, if you face them in the lead anyways, you're swapping, so it doesn't really matter who wins the one shield, because you'll never really have that matchup where you're locked in for a long time. So you'll see in these games that I'm safe swapping Azumarill for the most part. This is just because Azumarill has access to Ice Beam. You'll see I'm running Ice Beam, Play Rough. I think this is the best moveset for safe swap Azumarill. Just to hit those grass switch-ins harder. If I swapped in Castform Rainy and they swapped in something like Shadow Victorybell, there's nothing I can do. I can't even burn a shield. With Azumarill, at least you can take a shield back and take shield advantage into the next matchup. With that being said, you don't really do well against grass hole teams with double water. But as we get into this game, we're going to see Altaria versus Shadow Abomasnow, so this is a good lead. And they're going to swap into Ferrothorn. So Ferrothorn, honestly, pretty good against the back line. So I've got to stay in here. I know that Azumarill can deal with Altaria later if need be, but this Ferrothorn is a big problem for the back line, and it's not very good against Abomasnow. As you see, I was able to get 2 Weather Balls off before they were even able to get to a single flash cannon. So if they had gone earlier, I would have just no shielded a Power Whip. It was a pretty easy scenario for me. I swap in Castform Rainy and essentially sacrifice him to the gods, as I know that my Azumarill has a much better matchup versus Altaria than Castform Rainy does. So I swap into Azumarill here, and Azumarill beats Altaria. It doesn't look like their Altaria is hitting that attack breakpoint against my Azumarill. But just because Azumarill is a much better matchup versus Deoxys Defense, I'm going to swap in my Abomasnow to deal with this Altaria a bit better. And this Deoxys Defense is going to have a tough time farming down Abomasnow without throwing a move, which is his win condition there, as he needs to get a Thunderbolt to land on my Azumarill. And I have a shield too, so this is a pretty solid win here. But you'll see a lot of these wins are actually pretty solid on this day. I think on this day I went 22-3. So really, really good day. Shadow Victorybell lead, and they're going to Galarian Stunfisk. I usually swap. So I swap into Rainy Castform here. I played this team for 2 days. The first day I did not have very much success. I was trying to learn the matchups. I don't think I was playing very well. This day I had a lot more success, and I think one of the main things here is you watch as they swap into Galarian Stunfisk, I swap into my Rainy Castform once they're locked instead of Azumarill. This is something I wasn't doing on the first day against Pokemon like Bastiodon against like Alolan Marowak, I just instinctively swapped to Azumarill because I'm used to running it with Hydro Pump instead. But because I'm not running it with Hydro Pump, the charge moves are kind of relatively useless, and those matchups are much closer than you'd expect. So throwing a Rainy Castform in there instead into those Pokemon that are weak to water types, it's just a much more solid way to play the game. And now instead of having Rainy Castform against Obstagoon, which is a bit of a tougher matchup, I have Azumarill against Obstagoon, which is a much more dominating matchup, and I'm able to clean up this game. Whereas if I had played like I had the day before this, I probably would have ended up losing this one. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to play a team. Like, if you try a team and it's not working after day one, that doesn't mean it doesn't work, right? Like, it takes a while to get used to a team. Even if you're used to the Pokemon in it. Like, I've played all of these Pokemon before. None of these are new to me. I didn't power up anything for this. But it still took me a while to figure out the team synergy. So we're going to see an Azumarill lead. The entire team actually deals pretty well with Azumarill, but Shadow Abomasnow is pretty good. 7 Powder Snows to an Energy Ball, so that's perfect for fast move fast move counting. And as long as they don't bait with Ice Beam, you just win this by going straight Energy Ball. So no reason for me to bait. I'm counting my fast moves there just to make sure I get off the correct amount, and I go for the Energy Ball, which they'll shield again, and I'll match shield. So Abomasnow can handle a play rough, or Shadow Abomasnow can, but it can't handle all these bubbles as well. So if it's the lead, I will shield. If it's not, then I won't. And they're going to come in with Venusaur right away. And yeah, this is what happens when Shadow Abomasnow can just completely win a game by itself. No Azumarill or Rainy Castform needed. It just seems like a lot of teams somehow aren't prepared for Shadow Abomasnow. Or just Abomasnow in general. It's a pretty strong Pokemon. It has a lot of weaknesses, so you'd think that teams would be carrying at least one Pokemon that it's good for versus it. But we're going to see another scenario where this Altaria has to stay in because they probably only have one counter in the back. So this might be this is slightly a team building issue if you can't swap into something like Abomasnow and you have to leave Altaria in. But you're going to see I'm going to try and catch the Rock Slide there, and it fails. And then they're going to bring their Azu out into this Azu-Azu matchup, which is kind of what I wanted. In the first place, I want to get that Rainy Castform into that Galarian Stunfisk matchup for sure. So Azu versus Azu, pretty boring matchup, but remember, if you're locked in these super long matchups with decently long fast moves, be sure to practice your fast move denial. That's how you can get ahead in energy and actually win these matchups. So you'll see I actually get to this Ice Beam before my opponent does. My Azumarill's IVs aren't very good, but I can still win that matchup, and I'm just going to swap back into Abomasnow just in case they threw to clear out their energy. Castform Rainy can very well deal with Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So we're going to see another win right there. And I believe that's 5 wins in the set. So we're going to start this day off strong. 5 wins. Yeah. I guess that's all there is to say about that. Shadow Abomasnow did a lot of work in this first set. Honestly, I didn't use Castform Rainy too much. It seemed to be more of a sacrifice in a lot of these games. That's going to change. I think I start really prioritizing or learning how my team wants to play, and it's more around shields than it is anything else. So in the first day, I was favoring Weather Ball Water a lot, whereas today, or in this set, I'm this set of sets, I'll be using Thunder a lot more, just as a nuke, just because it is a very powerful move when shields are down. So in this case, I try to catch. This will be a theme. My catches haven't been so good so far, but I will be catching a lot of moves. That is something that is really powerful with this team. You want your Abomasnow to get an energy advantage, so any amount of charging up or shields you can bring down with your Abomasnow, and then using your Azumarill as like a third shield. If you can do that as much as possible, you're going to be very successful. So I've burned 2 shields already, and This just gives me a huge advantage in the game. I'm also Pokemon up. The problem is this Azumarill has a ton of energy, so I'm going to swap into Castform Rainy. And I'm like, they Ice Beam me, so at this point, it's probably going to be an Ice Beam or Hydro Pump, just because they probably would have played rough to the Shadow Abomasnow. There's no reason to really bait there. And I'm going to get really, really greedy here and go for the Weather Ball. I really could have just gone for the Thunder, but instead they have Alolan Marowak in the back, so really, really dangerous position for me right now. There's not a lot that Shadow Abomasnow can't put a huge dent in with a ton of energy, but Alolan Marowak is one of the only Pokemon. But luckily, I still have a shield for Rainy Castform, and I have Weather Ball charged up, so even if they had 2 charge moves, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be able to finish this Marowak off. And then the Azu. So this game was a little bit closer than it needed to be because I decided to get fancy. So that's just a little bit of a lesson. Just don't get too fancy. Just play it simple, play it safe. A lot of the time, game did not need to be that hard, that's for sure. So we're going to see a Toxicroak lead. I'm going to swap into my Azu. So this is an issue with the fighter leads. If I swap into Azu, they usually swap out, and then my Castform Rainy is going to be stuck versus them at the end. So because of that, it's kind of necessary to get your Abomasnow that energy advantage going into that fighter matchup, so you can at least burn some shields. So they're going to swap into their Azu, and now we're going to trade shields. I shielded a Sludge Bomb earlier, but I'm able to get a shield back with the Play Rough because it seems like they really want to win switch advantage, which is fair, right? Like, they want to line up that Toxicroak versus that Shadow Abomasnow. So I'm just going to keep throwing my Play Roughs. We actually Simpy Tie there, and I'm going to get Play Rough down. Well, not quite. I'm not sure if they undercharged there. If they did, that was really good. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and farm this Azu all the way down. You see, I'm not in the lead, so I don't have to shield a charge move. I can tank one. And I know there's a Toxicroak, so I don't care if my Abomasnow is low anyways. I just really need to get that energy. And I'm able to get to 2 3/4 Weather Balls. I think I was at 100 energy. And they're going to actually have to blow a shield here, and I'm able to swap into Castform Rainy and take them down before they're able to get to a charge move. Galarian Stunfisk rounds out the back, and at this point, the game is pretty easy. So, yeah, this is a team that Galarian Stunfisk really does not like to come into, and that's very important because Galarian Stunfisk is potentially the most common Pokemon, if not Azumarill. All 3 of these Pokemon have good matchups versus both Pokemon, and that's why you're just playing the odds. It's very strong. So you can see, actually, I counted moves. I swapped and caught the Weather Ball on Azumarill. This is going to be very important later because Cherrim Sunny with with energy actually ruins this team. It beats all 3 of these Pokemon, I believe, just because it carries both powerful grass move and a very quick charging fire move, which is a pretty deadly combo. We're going to run into this scenario again where Azumarill is able to beat my Azumarill, but that's fine because I will be able to just farm up quite a bit, and we'll see if I get a shield here. If not, that's fine too. I just want to exit this matchup with a lot of energy. I need to be able to deal with this Cherrim. I know it has no energy right now, but it charges insanely fast, even faster than Abomasnow to get to Weather Balls. Actually charged up a bit on my Azu too, so I don't actually know how much energy it has. And for that reason, I'm scared to switch into Rainy Castform due to the fact that it could be at a Solar Beam, and I really don't want to have to take this down to a bait game. And unfortunately, they are actually at 2 Weather Balls already. I was debating trying to catch one, but Rainy Castform can come out, and I am going to try and farm this Cherrim all the way down, and luckily they don't get to that Solar Beam, and Shadow Machamp comes out, and Thunder is able to nearly one-shot it. Cherrim's not done though, but it is pretty much done. It needed to get to, I think, 6 Bullet Seeds, or 7, to get to the Solar Beam, and it was only a 5. So we were relatively safe there. Next match, we've got Bastiodon lead. Okay, so this is the one incredible weakness of this team. It is Grass Hole. Well, double water versus double grass. What can you really expect here? At least because they swap slow, I'm able to get to 2 Ice Beams. If I was able to burn the last shield, I would be in a much better position. and then just farm down this Tropius and throw the Energy Ball at Bastiodon, but instead they tank it and they live, which is pretty ballsy because I think that's IV dependent. Yeah, so this is what happens when Rainy Castform is against a Razor Leafer. You just can't do anything. And then this game is essentially over. I have to just farm down at this point, but Leaf Blade hurts so much, and Bastiodon is just going to be able to beat me. At this point, I'm just trying to see how much damage the Energy Ball does so I can see if, like, try and find a win condition in the future, but but they shield, so I can't even do that. But yeah, Grass Hole, I think out of all the games, out of the 3 games I lost in this entire day, I think 2 of them were Grass Hole games. So it just has incredible play against everything else, this team. And I think if I was running Pelipper instead, like a Wing Attack Pelipper, it would be even better against Grass Hole. It would be possible to win. So the Altaria lead matchup, I like to throw a Weather Ball before they get to a Sky Attack, but I don't like to let them catch it, so I'll throw it after 6, and then farm all the way down because they can't get to a second Sky Attack. Now they're going to come with Bastiodon, and my goal here is to swap so that I can draw out their Grass type if they have one, which they do, and it's Shiftry. So Shiftry versus Azu is quite dominating, but we've already eliminated a shield from both sides, so it's much better. They can't exit this matchup with that much energy. They're going to elect to throw here. I'm fine with just going down and bringing in my Abomasnow, which I think has a charged up Weather Ball, and I can just unload. I thought I could maybe farm a little bit more, but I didn't really want to chance it. It's one of those things where sometimes the safest play isn't the most optimal play, or the most optimal play isn't the safest play. So in this case, I now have Rainy Castform versus Bastiodon, and this is a pretty dominating matchup. So I'm pretty comfortable here. I'm just water gunning it down. But yeah. So if in Grass Hole somehow I was able to beat that Tropius, like that Ice Beam was able to take out that Tropius, I probably would have ended up winning that game because Castform Rainy is able to beat Bastiodon, and Shadow Abomasnow is able to beat whatever Razor Leafer is in the back very comfortably. So that's the thing, though, is you have to be able to flip those matchups, so they have to be swapping in something slow enough that you can get multiple Ice Beams off. If they swap in a Shadow Victorybell into your Azumarill, you're in some trouble. They have to swap in something like a Cherrim Sunny or Groddle or Tropius, and they have to double shield. That's your only win condition. So versus Dewgong versus Icy Winters, I throw Energy Ball first. That's not smart. I should have thrown Weather Ball. If I beat them to their charge move, I should throw Weather Ball because they're almost guaranteed to shield before an Icy Wind goes out. I'm going to swap immediately to my Azumarill, and they're going to swap right to Hypno. So it's a bit of an odd switch. Even with Thunder Punch, I think regular Hypno does not beat Azumarill. It's Shadow Hypno that does with shields. So in this case, I'm going to get to just an Ice Beam here. And I'm going to let this Thunder Punch through. It doesn't quite KO. And I really should have pressed Play Rough, but it ends up not mattering. So that's fine as well. And unfortunately, this Dewgong gets a decent amount of farm. Because it has a decent amount of energy, I am going to go straight into Rainy Castform because it resists all of Dewgong's moves. And I'm just going to turn this into a really long game. So because I'm debuffed twice, I feel like I can throw a Thunder now without it being shielded. Generally, if you're this debuff, people won't shield. And I'm going to tank one more charge move and probably swap to clear some debuffs here. And it's a good thing I do because Scrafty's in the back. This is a Pokemon that Castform Rainy really needs to deal with, and Shadow Abomasnow cannot. So I'm going to shield this Power Up Punch. It feels really bad, but I really need to get to this Weather Ball. It is incredibly important that I burn this last shield or take down the Scrafty because I am very close to that Weather Ball water, and I'm able to get that off and take down the Scrafty, and then we'll see if I can get to this Weather Ball water before Dewgong. I think that might even be a CMP tie, if not one turn before I'm able to take down that Dewgong instead. So, yet another win in the set, going pretty well besides the Grass Hole game. So we're going to see a Shadow Victorybell lead here. This is a much better lead, and I'm going to swap and try and catch the foul play. So that's the name of the game. As I started playing this team more and more, I started realizing how important catching moves is I'm going to count 4 and catch that foul play, and that becomes very important because if Umbreon just gets last resorts, you can't just nonchalantly take them down if they shield. Like if they start trading shields, they get to moves much faster than you. They can kind of push, like turn this awful matchup into a decent one. But because I was able to catch a foul play before, I only have to burn 1 shield, and I'm able to farm down this Umbreon and exit with a decent amount of energy with enough for an Ice Beam that I can throw back at this Shadow Victorybell that's going to come back in. Throw a Bubble, which is pretty dumb. Like, they're going to bring in their Shadow Victorybell regardless, and they actually don't shield, which is kind of nice. I guess they knew that they had a rough matchup incoming with the Shadow Abomasnow, and their only hope was to bank on the fact that Galarian Stunfisk could beat the rest of my team with shields. But unfortunately for them, I've got Rainy Castform in the back as my insurance policy versus Galarian Stunfisk. I think they'll soon realize that there's not much they can do versus this. Yeah, they're just going to GG out at that point. So next, I think it's the last battle in this set. We're going to go up against Sweaty Nut. And it's going to be a regular Stunfisk lead. This is a very good matchup for Shadow Abomasnow. And Alola Marowak comes in. Seen this other day, I would have swapped an Azu and I might have lost this game. But Rainy Castform is very good versus Alola Marowak. Azumarill, not so good. The thing here is that I really do need to win switch advantage. Because, well, I don't need to, but it would be very beneficial because Shadow Abomasnow has such a dominating matchup against regular Stunfisk, and they know it too. They spent 2 shields on this matchup already, and they're going to swap out to Altaria, and I'm going to swap out to Abomasnow. So in hindsight, this was a bad swap. I should have swapped into Azumarill instead. Just because now my Abomasnow is going to take heavy damage from this Alola Marowak. I'm actually going to let it go down, and it was the Pokemon where I had the most comfortable matchup versus Stunfisk, but Azumarill is not too bad, especially with a little bit of an energy advantage too. So we're going to end up winning that game anyways, even though I did make kind of an ill-advised switch in the moment. It's really hard to think about those things when they happen instantly. So this next matchup here, we have Galvantula lead. Abomasnow beats Galvantula. You just have to shield a bunch. There's going to be a lot of shields anyways. You can see I throw Weather Ball after 5 Powder Snows. This is when I get to it. It also forces them to overtap. You can see they threw an extra Volt Switch there if you rewind. But they're going to swap here after they're out of shields. And I'm just going to charge up a bit and swap out as well. In hindsight, because they're out of shields, it might have been better for me to go into Rainy Castform. Just because Thunder packs an absolute punch versus Azu. And Azu is my better counter versus if they have a fighter in the back or something like that. So I do have a lot of energy on my Abomasnow though, so it's not really too worrying. If at all you can ever charge up your Abomasnow on anything that doesn't do too much damage back, like an Azu, and then swap, or like a Stunfisk and then swap, like it's absolutely fantastic. I think I realized my mistake of not going to Rainy Castform earlier, and I swap to catch that Ice Beam. Because if there is a fighter, I kind of do want my Azumarill there. I no shield and call the lunge, and we're going to see this Weather Ball KO. KO that Galvantula, and it's a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. This should be a pretty straightforward matchup. I'm going to go with Azu first because I think the reason it took me so long to switch was because I was debating whether or not they could farm me down in time at that HP. But I decided to make the safer play and swap into Abomasnow and just shield up and fast move this guy down. Well, no, that's not fast move. I'm going to Weather Ball him down. Yeah. So another pretty straightforward matchup. You'll see that this team has kept me in it in pretty much every game except for that Grass Hole one. Still. So we'll see if that trend continues. Sableye lead, so I am going to try and catch the foul play and fail because I did not have the count correct. I think it's 6 to a foul play. I thought it was 7. So at least this time I know that he's throwing right away, so I'm going to count again, and we're going to swap into the Azu and catch the foul play. So this is a pretty big deal. Once again, it's the same thing as Umbreon, those normal moves, so Return or Last Resort actually hit really, really hard on Azu and can force you to spend a shield to win the switch advantage. But because I catch foul play, he knows he has no chance, and they actually come in with their only fighter here on Azu, and it's Surfetched, so this matchup is very hard. The Surfetched gets to Leaf Blades faster than you do, get to your charge moves, so I'm just going to try and win shield advantage there with my Azu, and I've got a Weather Ball ready. Hopefully they didn't swap right away. They did. So they swap into Jirachi, and I'm going to swap into Rainy Castform. Decent matchup against Jirachi. Jirachi uses a Steel type charge move, so I'm able to just tank it because it's not very effective, and I'm going to charge up a little bit. I didn't want to... My loss condition was letting them get to another charge move, I'm still not out of hot water yet, but it's looking a lot better once I can get off that Weather Ball. So I'll just shield up my Castform Rainy here and finish off the Surf Edge with the Water Gun. Yeah, so that finishes off that set. Actually, that's another 5-0, so I think that's a 5-0, a 4, and a 5 so far. For 14 out of 15 wins, that's pretty solid. And the thing is, like, even 3 sets, that's a decently small sample size. This team has so much more to show, so we got 2 more sets to go in this video. A bit longer than usual, just because it is a bit more meta than usual, so there's a bit more intricacies and more replayability. So we're going to see a very awful lead here. It's Shadow Mawile. I'm going to swap immediately into my Azumarill, and my goal here is to just get as many shields as I can off of this Tropius. If I can get 2, that's fantastic. Shadow Mawile does really need shields, so I kind of have an inkling that they might shield, but instead they decide to throw their energy, which is fine for me. I can farm this Tropius almost all the way down. I just don't want them to get to an aerial ace, because I don't want to have to spend a shield myself. But in hindsight, maybe it would have been better, just because Shadow Mawile not really known for shields. So I'm going to swap into Rainy Castform, and now we have this Rainy Castform shield advantage versus Azumarill. I'm just going to go straight Thunder. Most of the time, Azus don't seem to be shielding the first Thunder. They think you're baiting, or maybe people don't know the moveset of Rainy Castform. And I'll shield the Play Rough, because I think it's unlikely that they would bait the first move, if anything. And I'm just going to go straight Water Ball. Weather Ball Water here. Let one Play Rough through, and the main reason I did that was because I thought this Mawile might be running or at a Play Rough already, but because they spend their energy there on my Abomasnow, so I don't get to the Weather Ball, I'm able to just win this game without using that shield instead. But I think that because I had my shield, they used Power Up Punch. If I didn't have it, they probably would have saved up for a Play Rough. So it's one of those things where I did win with one shield, but it was a more close of a matchup than that. So Azumarill lead again. I'm just going to, well, they're going to swap, and I'm going to bring in my Azumarill. It looks like they're just going Power Up Punch, which is interesting. This makes me think that they're going into this matchup for the long haul, like the 2 shield. So because of that, I feel more inclined to bait Power Up Punch users. If they're Power Up Punching, they're probably going to start shielding their Pokemon. So this is the prime time to bait. And once again, I'm just going to bait. We'll see if they shield or not. I actually shielded a Power Up Punch. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I wasn't really counting. I thought they might be at a Psychic, and a double boosted Psychic would absolutely crush Azumarill. Whoa, a little bit of lag there, but I'm able to get this Play Rough off, which is very important. Getting that Azumarill to that like 75% zone or 66% zone, so that an Energy Ball or a Thunder can KO is very important. So landing that Play Rough is very good. This person will bring in their Skarmory into my Abomasnow, and Abomasnow actually does very well against Skarmory. Shadow Abomasnow wins in the 1 shield. In this case, I'm trying to get to another Weather Ball, but I don't quite make it. I think we either CMP tie, or not CMP tie, but he got there a turn before. If not, I would have easily finished him off. In this case, I'm just going to farm down the Skarmory. They throw Sky Attack. I think they really should have thrown a Brave Bird here. but I'm able to farm them all the way down, and now I'm at this coveted Thunder, which will almost KO from that range. It just takes a couple extra water guns, but I'm able to bring down that Azu. So yeah, landing that play rough and not lagging out was it turned out to be extremely important. Opposing Azu at 60% is ideal, because then you have one-shot potential from both other Pokemon. So Skarmory lead. I don't think we've seen one of these yet. I throw 7 Powder Snows and then Weather Ball, and I swap. I probably could have waited a little bit to swap, but instead they come in with Venusaur, and that was a very fast swap. They actually beat me to a charge move, so I'm going to let it through. Barely survive. I think it's slightly IV dependent, but most of the time you should survive. My Azumarill does not have very good defenses, so I'm going to get that Ice Beam back, and they're very low. Because that Ice Beam got off, I'm going to be able to farm this Venusaur down without it being able to get to a Frenzy Plant. Fortunately, the Skarmory actually does have enough for Sky Attack now, so I am forced to shield. But I will be able to either KO the Skarmory back or get a couple of shields here, and we'll see what they decide to do. I'm able to KO the Skarmory, and in the back it's just Swampert. So Swampert versus Castform Rainy. This is an interesting matchup. If they have Sludge Wave, you win the one shield. If they do not have Sludge Wave, if they have Earthquake, you lose the one shield. So I'm really just banking that they have Sludge Wave here, and they do. So they'll once again get to this Hydro Cannon. I'm going to shields so I can guarantee this Weather Ball going off and win this matchup. Yeah, so a little bit of a tougher win there, but still managed to pull it out pretty easy. Like I said, Shadow Abomasnow beats Skarmory in the one shield, but it's something you'll probably be swapping out of anyways. So Drifblim lead here. They're going to try and actually catch my move this time, but I don't like to throw a 5 for the most part, generally because of people trying to catch moves. And I actually try and swap there for a little bit, but I get some lag, and unfortunately I have to blow this shield. Yeah, so I was having a bit of latency issues in this game and another game, and I'm going to just farm up as much as I can. If I'm going to blow that shield, I am going to make the most of it. I'm going to make sure I have almost 3 Weather Balls before I swap and just tank a charge move with Azu. So they're going to bring back in Drifblim here. Drifblim's an Icy Wind user. I'm probably not going to shield their first charge move because it's higher value for them to go for the Icy Wind bait first. If they go Shadow Ball, that's fine too. Then I'm not debuffed and I can get off this undebuffed Ice Beam. So, or get another shield. So because of that, I'm going to try and get to another Ice Beam. They're going to try and farm me down because they realize their only win condition is to farm me all the way down. And that's just not going to work. So Scrafty's going to come back in, and this is a Pokemon that Rainy Castform is going to have to deal with, and it's pretty easy when you have a shield advantage. So yet another win. All right, last game of the set. It's FP Sticks, the God Gamer himself. We're going to come up against a Toxicroak lead. This is obviously not very ideal. I'm going to swap right away to Azu, and he's not swapping right away, which means he probably doesn't have that great of an Azu counter. But he charges way past the Sludge Bomb. He probably has a Sludge and a Mud Bomb. So I don't shield at all, and he brings in the Skarmory. In hindsight, I probably should have shielded just from how long he stayed in with the Toxicroak. But now we've got a bit of a mismatched switch timers. That's why I come in right away, because my switch timer is up and his isn't. So I want to make the most of it. With Skarmory, like I bring in my Abomasnow into Skarmory because my Castform is going to be needed to deal with the Toxicroak later, and I'm not quite able to farm down that Toxicroak one fast move away, but that's what FP6 does. He just plays so clean, right? That one fast move is one efficiency that he gained earlier, right? That another battler might not have. In this case, he throws the Mud Bomb right away. I know I'm fine. So it doesn't matter that I don't have a shield. That's why I Powder Snowed once first, and then I get this Weather Ball off and actually feint the Toxicroak. And now I swapped a little bit slow, but I'm going to try and race this Sableye to do 2 charge moves. Unfortunately, I don't think time is on my side because of a slightly slow swap. So he's going to get 1 foul play off, and then the second foul play, I am 1 Water Gun away, and FP Stick's going to ruin my 5-0 here. Unfortunately, there should have been a content creator pact, paid actor stuff, but no, he doesn't let me have it. So, no, that's fine. P6 is a great battler. He had lead advantage as well, so I'm not too upset losing this game. I think, yeah, he played it very clean. I think I played it probably as well as I could have, except for the slightly slow switch into Castform Rainy. But other than that, it went pretty well. I think technically in this case, if I had safe swapped Castform Rainy first, it might have been slightly better. But that would just have been this one case, and it wouldn't have been the same in most other cases. I did experiment with safe swapping Castform Rainy in the day before, and it did not go well. So we're going to see a Bastiodon lead here, and guess what? It's Shadow Victorybell. So yeah, not too much to say about this matchup here. I think you guys already know exactly what is going to happen. Going to bring in the Abomasnow. I'm going to have to blow a shield to win this matchup. I'm going to Sludge Bomb. And then I'm going to have to get Energy Balls off on Bastiodon. But unfortunately for me, because my opponent is very conscious of the switch timer, I'm actually still locked in for a little bit there. And my Abomasnow takes way too much damage. So I'm going to get to a Thunder here. Just does more damage than Weather Balls. And they're actually going to shield. Which actually gives me a win condition if I weren't so low on HP already. So my only win condition here is farming all the way down, and these Razor Leaves hurt a little bit too much. So I'm going to lose another game to Grass Hole. That's okay. This is our third loss of the day. And we're going to see a Abomasnow Mirror. I actually have not seen too many Abomasnows. It's so weird because I feel like at the end of last Open Great League, the Abomasnows were everywhere, but now they're nowhere. So you can see I caught Weather Ball Ice. That's very important too. So I'm just trying to catch as much as I can on Abomasnow and save this energy for later, because Weather Ball Ice is very powerful against a ton of the meta. They actually let the play rough through. So in this case, I actually elect a shield again. They have no reason to bait here. It's an energy ball. And they're going to bring in Mew. So Mew with shields down for me is actually very dangerous. This is going to be a tough game. I know at this point, because they have 2 shields, I just need to get consistent damage off. So I'm throwing Ice Beams or whatever the cheapest move is. In this case, I got to Ice Beam and Play Rough at the same time. And I know I'm not going to survive a charge move. Because it's either Wild Charge or Grass Knot. In this case, it's Grass Knot. So in hindsight, I really should have swapped into Castform Rainy here, because nobody runs... Well, I guess they have Grass Knot. No, this was the right decision. But I was thinking they had Flame Charge. Instead, they have Rock Slide, which still KOs. So Castform Rainy is going to come in and is able to take down this Mew. And now I have a little bit of energy, and they just leave. So whatever was in the back, I'm assuming it was something like a Galarian Stunfisk or an Alolan Marowak is actually my better guess, just because of the Alolan Marowak Abomasnow pairing. But we'll never know. So a Galvantula lead. So I'm just going to get this Weather Ball off. And I'm just going to see, like, they overtapped a little bit. And I'm at the next Weather Ball already. So because of this, I'm able to get another Weather Ball off. They're going to shield, and it's going to be the same old song and dance. I'm going to have to shield here. We're just going to keep training shields, except I have a full Weather Ball ready to go, and they're going to swap into Azu. Because I'm double debuffed, I don't throw that energy ball. I'm just going to clear my debuffs and save all the energy for later. I'm instead going to go in with my Azu. Once again, I go for Azu versus Azu instead of Castform versus Azu. I don't know. I think it's about even, actually. With no shields on my side, I think Azumarill can beat Castform Rainy, just because 2 Play Roughs KO. But I'm just going to do as much damage as I can to this Azu. I have quite a bit of energy stored up on my Abomasnow. So really, I can choose to go back in and, yeah, I catch a move here. So catching the Ice Beam is very important, because it allows me to maintain all of this energy on my Abomasnow. I have 100 energy on my Abomasnow. This guy does not bait at all, because I have no shields. And I actually have way more than 100 energy. I would have like 150 energy if that were possible. But unfortunately, it's not. They bring in their Galarian Stunfisk, and we're going to straight ball on him. Straight ball, 3 Weather Balls. Actually, Energy Balls ball too. So either way, Shadow Abomasnow is always straight balling regardless, but I'm just going to throw these Weather Balls, because 3 Weather Balls is enough to KO this Galarian Stunfisk, which is huge. and this Azumarill is not at a charge move, so it is a pretty easy takedown for me. I think their only chance was to try and catch a Weather Ball with Azumarill there. And even then, it's a bit rough because a Weather Ball Ice is all you need, and that's 5, and so is Rock Slide, so it'd be CMP tie. They're going to swap into Azu here. They tried to catch Weather Ball. You just got to be careful about that, and because they didn't, they're forced to low shields. I charge up a little bit more, and now I have the shield advantage in this Azu versus Azu mirror. I can force win it if I want, but my team is pretty good versus Drifblim anyways. In general, like Castform Rainy is no slouch versus Drifblim. Pokemon that resist Icy Wind in general can do pretty okay versus Drifblim, just because then you don't have to play the bait game, right? Or like you don't get just debuffed constantly while they're doing decent damage. They either have to choose between doing damage and debuffing you. So in this case, I'm gonna go back in with Shadow Abomasnow and just farm all the way down. So this is a really good scenario for me. I have 2 shields, and unfortunately, they have a Registeel. It's not a Pokemon I've seen a lot of recently, but I'm going to swap out to Rainy Castform. I have 2 shields on Rainy Castform, so I'm not going to shield the first thing because I'm anticipating a long battle. It's high value for them to go for the Icy Wind first, like I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to go for the Weather Ball, which obviously gets shielded because I charge up to the Thunder. And they're going to Icy Wind again. And I'm just going to play it safe here, and I'm going to go for the Thunder. The problem here is now I'm debuffed, and I'm going into a Registeel. So what I really want to do is swap right away to clear that debuff. And this Registeel will now have to throw energy at Abomasnow. The problem is my Castform Rainy is pretty low and is at risk of getting locked down. So I do end up using my shield on Shadow Abomasnow. This is kind of similar to Shadow Victorybell, where you just put out so much damage. It doesn't really matter that it's resisted in this case versus the Registeel. I'm able to just take this Registeel down almost 100% with Shadow Abomasnow and 1 shield. So and energy, of course. Like having 70 energy is kind of a big deal, but it is what it is. And we'll see what we get in this this next match here. Yeah, a lot of people these Gyarados hats. I will get mine soon. Actually, I gotta remember to do that. Azumarill lead, and they swap into Galvantula, so I wouldn't advise this generally, just because Galvantula kind of needs that energy lead, or he needs that, or be at even energy to win a lot of these matchups. Like I'm already at 2 Weather Balls before he even gets his first lunge off. He forced the overtap, and I'm gonna get this Weather Ball, but unfortunately we CMP tie. So this is worst case. I would have liked to farm him down a little bit more. So guess what? Advanced Mechanics video number, I don't remember. I'm under tapping. I want to leave him with a little bit of health so I can get some more energy. And shields are down. I throw Rainy Castform into Azumarill instead this time. And unfortunately, because I'm a bit slow, actually because this Azumarill has a little bit of energy from earlier as well. Actually, a decent amount of energy from earlier. It's able to beat me to play rough. But this is also fine because this is just more farm for the Abomasnow. Unfortunately, I do have to throw the Weather Ball. I should have waited a little bit, and then I could have swapped with Azu. But it's lucky I didn't because Meganium comes right out, and we're going to see a 3rd shield right now here, if I remember correctly. So quite a bit of lag, and this Weather Ball does 0 damage. So at this point, I am cursing my Wi-Fi. Why didn't that work? And we both try and sack swap at the same time. Luckily for me, they don't try and take out the Abomasnow there, and Azumarill is going to be able to bubble down this Meganium. So yeah, a bit of a risky game that should have been an extremely easy game due to some lag. I was having some lag in the last couple sets, but managed to close it out. That's 22 wins out of 25 games. An absolute huge day for this team. Yeah, I think this, I don't know, until something happens, Abomasnow and Azumarill are going to be the absolute best, or one of the best, if not the best cores in Great League. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more of them. But yeah, as usual, if you like this kind of content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I'll put my Patreon if you want to support me in the video description. If you don't want to support me, come hang out in the Discord, which I will also put in the video description. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.